Accept my humble obeisances, Shashla Prabhupada. This is Preeti Vilasini Devidasi from Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you for your warm welcoming. And thank you, Jyoti Mataji, for that very beautiful recitation of the Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Vilasini Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. And thank you so much for all your services on Bhakti Sangha. And thank you, Jyoti Mataji, once again for the Beji recitation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for giving me the chance to recite the 15th chapter today. I'm very happy to be part of the mid-morning session today after a long time. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Jyoti Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call and giving us your association. And please join the call every day, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Welcome back to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji. Dandut pranams to you and all the devotees here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Sumi from Jersey City.
Hare Krishna, Sumi Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Anyone would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavad Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna, Neetu Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for always joining on the call very consistently, and thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Anyone else who would like to introduce themselves? I think we can move on to the call. Okay. So Hare Krishna, dear devotees, I once again welcome all of you to this conference call. So today we will be moving on to the next section, that is Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. But before moving to the session, I would like to read Prabhupada's quote for today. So today is 22nd October. Okay. So I think we need Prabhupada also to remember the date for all days. So thank you so much for this reminder of the quote. Every day we are reading on Bhakti Sangha. So Prabhupada's quote is letter to Kirtanananda, October 22, 1968. Prabhupada has written, decorate the deity as nicely as possible with nice flowers and dress. You will forget all other faults we do. Hare Krishna. Yes, of course. So deities, when we see in Vrindavan, means like various other ISKCON temples, they are really very so attractive, right? So once when I went to Andhra, I intended, I just forced my family that I want to go to ISKCON. Like we went to Tirupati, so on the way, so I thought, okay, we'll go to ISKCON also. And there I was really stunned to see all the deities on the altar and with all the gopis, Ashtasakis. So they were really so beautiful. And if you see outside also, they have kept a big Bhagavad Gita. So means like. It's not a real Bhagavad Gita, but a simulation of Bhagavad Gita. So it was very nice to see it. So each and everything what Prabhupada has given us is like we can meditate on each and everything what Prabhupada has given us, like the deities and the regulations, the rules and regulations what Prabhupada has given to us. Like we have to whenever we go to purchase the dress, I feel that when I purchase a dress for myself, also I will not take time. But when we go to purchase dress for the Lord, especially during this Janmashtami recently, it was like it took a long time whether I will take this or that or this or that. That's a very huge process for me to select. So it was so that's how we can always relish while selecting or dressing the deities. So I hope Amita Gandharvika Mataji must be knowing about the ISKCON in Andhra and whoever have been there. So I saw in Mataji's status also recently about the ISKCON temple. So that's a nice quote. So Prabhuji has not joined it. Anyone who would like to throw light on this statement of Srila Prabhupada? Krishna. So then till Prabhuji joins, we can chant. If no one is there to introduce themselves, then we can chant till Prabhuji joins. Yes, Prabhuji joined. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I once again welcome all of you to this Mukti Sangha conference call. Today, our next session will be of Sri Caitanya Bhagavata, which will be given by His Grace Ramgiridhari Prabhu. So, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept and humble obeisances. All praise to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving us a valuable time and association. Thank you for joining the call, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, over to you.
Hare Krishna. So, thank you so much for having me in this service, and it's always a pleasure to discuss Krishna Katha and the Assembly of Vaishnavas, especially in this auspicious month of Damodar month. So we'll start with the invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. So we are reading from Shri Caitanya Bhagavata, Madhya Khanda, chapter 16, text number 87 through 96. The chapter titled The Lord's Acceptance of Shuklambara's Rise. Vishwambara Bale Tumi Bhaktira Bhandari Ete Kya Tomara Charanera Seva Kari. Vishwambara said, "You are the storekeeper of devotional service. That is why I serve your lotus feet. Tomara charane duli sarvange le pile, basha ye purusha Krishna prema rasa jale." If one smears the dust of your lotus feet over his body, he will float in the mellows of ecstatic love for Krishna. Vina tumi dile bhakti keha nahi payam, tomara seyi ami kena jana sarvataya. If you do not distribute devotional service, no one can attain it. Know that I belong to you in all respects. Tumi amayata vecha tatai bitai, yehi satya kai lama tomara seitai. You can sell me wherever you like. I tell you this in truth. Text 91. Advaitera pratideki kripara vaibhava apurva chintaye mane shakala vaishnava. On seeing the extraordinary mercy bestowed on Advaita, all the Vaishnavas were astonished. Satya sevi lena prabhu yehi mahapurushe koti moksha tulyana he ehi kriparaleshe. This great personality has truly served the Lord. For a fraction of mercy he received cannot be compared to millions of liberations. Text 93. Padachite prasada sankare se payam yaha kare advaitere Shri Gaurangaraya. Shiva rarely receives such mercy as Advaita received from Lord Gauranga. Text 94. Amarao bhagyavanta hena bhakta sange yehi bhaktera pada dhuli lai sarvahange. We are also fortunate to have the association of such a devotee. We take the dust from this devotee on our entire body. Text 95. Ena bhakta advaitere balite harishe papi sabha dhuka paya nija karma doshe. When such a devotee as Advaita Prabhu is joyfully glorified, sinful persons become distressed due to their past misdeeds. Text 96. Sekale ye haila kata sei satyahayam namane vaishnava vakya sei yakshaya. The topics of that time have been narrated by the Vaishnavas and are all factual. One who doubts their words is ruined. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakayam Chakshurun Militam Yenam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padayam Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedantam Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityanandam Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we have a wonderful loving exchange between Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Advaita Acharya. Mahaprabhu, all through his manifested Leela, has exchanged some wonderful emotions with his dearest devotees, and those loving exchanges are something that is the purest form of devotional service. Because in the material context, every loving exchanges are all fully adulterated and motivated. The point is that if we are not able to understand the science of Krishna consciousness in the truest self, the truest manner, we need to know that it is due to our material conditioning. As Prabhupada always gives this example of the frog in the well vis-a-vis the frog meeting the frog from the ocean. So the way the frog in the well comprehends is the way materialistic people comprehend about devotional service. These exchanges between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Advaita Acharya are not meant for general audience because they are kind of frog in the well. They will comprehend this purely from their limited understanding about devotion. That is why these subject matters of transcendental loving exchanges between the Lord and his dearest devotees are always done in the assembly of confidential associates and not generally publicly exhibited. Srila Sanatana Goswami writes in the introduction to Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita, mentioning that the subject matter that are dealt in the book Brihad Bhagavatamrita are supposed to be discussed amongst those who are serious practitioners, and they are not meant for neophytes. He explicitly makes that statement. Not that the subject matter has any shortcomings, but because the recipient need to also have necessary qualification to assimilate the subject, such a warning is given. So we are going to churn this current context as usual through some sets of reflections. We will start with the very last verse. The topics of that time have been narrated by the Vaishnavas and are all factual. One who doubts their words is ruined. My first reflection is around this particular point. Why such an extreme statements are made? Why it is said that those who are doubting them, they will be ruined? Why ruined? Because the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord and his dearest devotees' loving exchanges, because of its pure nature, because of its esoteric form, can only be appreciated by those who are fully surrendered. The statement about stating all these are all factual, this is to just establish the point of how important these subject matters they need to be dealt with. My personal reflection and realization in the last 35 years of being in Krishna consciousness is that we tend to accept Krishna consciousness based on my personal ability and my personal comprehension only. So I tend to comment, tend to review, tend to feedback, tend to give importance as much as I could comprehend. 9 out of 10 instances, I tell that this is what is Krishna consciousness. This is what is about. This is what its importance. This is what its priority. Depends upon how much I can assimilate and how much I can comprehend. But that is wrong. That is incomplete. The best and the correct way is, Krishna, I am not able to comprehend in the fullest sense. Please help me to see them factually. When Arjuna had a conversation with Krishna, when Arjuna kept on asking about Krishna's prowess and Krishna's supreme nature, at a point Krishna had to show Virat Rupa. And when Krishna showed the Virat Rupa, Krishna also gave the ability for Arjuna to witness the Virat Rupa. Not that all those assembled in that war field could see Virat Rupa. Similarly, the transcendental nature of loving exchanges between Krishna and his devotees, and to what extent Krishna can reveal, come forward to help his devotees or to exchange his love with his devotees. This has to be discussed. This has to be evaluated. This has to be understood in a very sincere and transcendental forum. Because our mood of accepting should be, Krishna, actually your power, your glories, your transcendence is way beyond what I could comprehend. So please enable me to comprehend. Please empower me to comprehend. And please empower me to understand that I can't comprehend and still surrender, which is the height of comprehension. Which is what Ananta Sesha is saying. With all my 100,000 eyes and ears, when I am witnessing the Lord's activities day in and day out, I am still not able to comprehend, and I am still confused and baffled. To come to that conclusion is also glorious. But unfortunately, materialistic men, unfortunately, people who have still attachment to their materialistic ideologies, they comprehend the Lord's activities and the Lord's devotees' activities only proportionate to what they could comprehend. In fact, the material ideology is that if I can't comprehend, it cannot be true. If I cannot see and experience, this has to be fake. That is the conclusion. In fact, the way the modern day millennials, they deal with spiritual subject matters are, if it is not logical, if it is not comprehensible, if it is not something that they could assimilate, they will mock at them as something that is mythology or Purana Khayal. It is like a old school thinking, and shoo them away. But our whole interest is to break that jinx and try to penetrate into the transcendental realm of loving exchanges between the Lord and devotees. So in this particular context, it is also to be noted, a Vaishnava may be a person who is surrendered to Krishna, may be compassionate to help a person go out of the way to give him that exposure only till that person is ready to surrender without any strings attached. If we have our strings attached, if we have our attachments, then the Lord will only wait till we are completely freed from our attachment. Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, text number 60, 61, 62, in one of the verses, Krishna explaining to Arjuna, even if one of these senses, if they are anchored, if they are still not purified, the person will not be able to have self-realization in the complete sense. So, a person who is intending to surrender to Krishna may have to have that sense of surrender to say that I may not be able to comprehend, let me accept this factually and operate based on these factual information. And one other point that we need to understand here is, to an extent, people may be able to agree about this transcendental loving exchanges from the Lord, about the Lord, but they may not be able to accept this between two Vaishnavas. That is why in Nectar of Instruction, it is very clearly explained that a person who is surrendered and self-realized soul, how we need to relate with Madhyama, Uttama, Kanishta, by knowing their position, our interaction, our responsiveness should be, aligned. So I want to say the first, reflection here is that as practicing devotees who constantly move around, deal with worldly minded people, we have the tendency to doubt, we have the tendency to limit our understanding proportionate to what we could comprehend. But when we read these subject matters, we need to keep that baggage aside and learn to hear them without any strings attached, surrender them without any strings attached, and just accept them with full surrender, knowing they are factual. By that way, we will be able to glorify. The reason the ruined word is mentioned is that if we don't do it and undermine, insult, humiliate, and disrespect a Vaishnava, our devotional life is at stake. So this is a very important general point, even amongst practicing devotees, even amongst those who are philosophically clear in their understanding, but they don't apply them in a daily living context, or even if they apply them, they have a very, very superficial application. Because in our head space, we could accept Krishna perfect, we could accept Narada Muni's and up to Prabhupada's perfect, but for us to accept a living devotee, living Bhagavata, living Vaishnava perfect or glorious, great, pure, it is very difficult. The ego, the kind of superiority complex or whatever complex a person may have, may not let that person surrender. So these pages of Caitanya Bhagavata, when we hear them, read them, and Vaishnavas narrate them, it is our good fortune and it is a wake-up call for us to note that please keep this brain aside, in the sense, keep this experiences of the brain derived from materialistic knowledge aside, not the intelligence aside, not the heart aside, not the devotion aside, but the materialistic intelligence, materialistic experience aside, and use the Krishna consciousness perspective given by Vaishnavas to see, to relate, to serve, to surrender to Vaishnavas and Krishna. So I am in my services deal with so many, Vaishnava relationships issues. 9 out of 10 issues are that we undermine a Vaishnava only towards our convenience and our understanding, and based on that we are having groupisms. But that is not the way great self-realized souls dealt with. So whilst I'm concluding the first reflection, I would like to make a warning statement that please, whilst dealing with practicing devotees, whilst dealing with serious practicing devotees, whilst dealing with fellow devotees, can we learn to build in a sense of broad-mindedness and try to see them as sincere, surrendered souls of Krishna and take advantage of their association. And they may have 100 other things which are non-comprehensible by us, and let's leave it for them and their seniors. Because half of the time, our surrender to someone is only based on our intellectual analysis. And that is not wrong, but that's not all it all. Beyond intelligence, there is something called as, what Vaishnavas and what self-realized souls proclaim. Prabhupada writes, Prabhupada told, that even if you happen to see Brahmananda smoking a cigarette, you have to offer obeisances. Jayadvaita Maharaj writes in an article. And when he writes that, he mentions, I'm just paraphrasing, he says that a person who may apichet sudurachara bhajate man, in that context he writes, that Krishna is still give that devotee who had done service to him and who is still trying to do service to him, still that give the devotee a status of a devotee self-realized soul, and he excludes and he forgives those accidental mistakes or those conditional mistakes. We saw in the last chapter and the chapter before how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu were merciful to Madhavananda, Jagai and Madhya. So the warning is that can we inculcate the habit of broad-mindedness? If we can inculcate the sense of broad-minded nature, then we will be able to see optimistically, we will be able to see with a very happy and broad-mindedly to somebody's action and able to appreciate, wow, they are doing wonderful service to Krishna. Because this is a typical Vaishnava relationship suggestion. How to become optimistic towards others and when you look at about ourselves, when we look at about our personal devotional life, we can be pessimistic upon ourselves and introspect on our rooms for improvement. So this is my first reflection, because if you don't do this, the reason we will be ruined is only one is we may commit offenses and disrespect, and second is because we may take them as an ordinary soul and not take advantage of their association in our life. For example, children of Prabhupada, family members of Ramanujacharya, other sons of Advaitacharya who have happened to become Mayavadis. In the sense that they still have got the blessings and they would still get delivered, but if they had taken advantage of their parents or their family members who had been a self-realized soul, then the net outcomes are much, much more glorious. So that's my first reflection. The second reflection is about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's statement saying that how it is important to know that dust of the lotus feet of a devotee. How Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Advaitacharya, I am yours. So for this, I will discuss something from Madhurya Kadambini, or it is also something that we have discussed earlier, about how this transcendental loving relationship, how it is graded something way above and beyond material comprehension, is very nicely analyzed. So when discussing from Anartha Nivritti till the stage of reaching the stage of Prema, very nicely Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura writes. So when a person is practicing Krishna consciousness, as it is mentioned here, Suddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajana Anukula Bhakata Seva Parama Siddhi Prema Latikara Mula. That is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. Charana Renu Bhajana Anukula. How do you understand this statement? When I am in the conditioned state, I cannot understand this statement. When I am a sadhaka, I may try to say, wow, oh, so be it, oh, like that. I may try to be, surprised by hearing this statement. When I am surrendering, I may try to accept this statement from a face value. But I will be starting to learn this statement, the truest sense, right from the stage of Nishta to Prema. The point is, when I am completely cleansed, when I am completely pure in my devotional service, then I am immaterial, whether I am in this material world, a spiritual world, wherever I am. For that person who is clean, Goswami, he is a walking dham. So Krishnadas Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura gives 5 stages of going through this wonderful cleanliness or purification, and is explaining what is to be added, what gets removed, and how that evolution of consciousness happens is nicely explained. The reason I am describing it here is because Vrindavan Das Thakura is telling the narration, the conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Advaitacharya. He is saying, I am actually sold out to you. I am yours. You sell me. You do anything you want. So the way we pray to Krishna, he is expressing this to a self-realized soul. So this loving exchanges has got no components of ahankara, no components of raga, dvesha, no components of any materialistic things. So this to get to that stage, get to the stage of purity, complete transcendence. That is something that needs to be done. So how anartha nivritti happens, and that is a separate conversation. But from anartha nivritti till prema, there is an interesting 5 stages that is explained, wherein we will be able to come to the stage where he says, "My body belongs to you, I belong to you, I completely surrender unto your lotus feet. You sell me, you do anything." That much free hand the Lord is giving to a devotee. So that state is not at all material. So when a person is in anartha nivritti, so he is partially Krishna conscious, and still some anarthas are left. Actually, Rupa Goswami explains, at the stage of anartha nivritti, most of the kleshas are removed. But still there are some anarthas that may continue to be with us till the stage of bhava. So it is said, if I can mention it as a staging table, if I can mention it as a kind of a hierarchy, just 1 second. So we can draw a small, flow chart to say how this, whole thing happens. I will use the whiteboard. So basically, it is explained that when we are reaching the stage, we say we are partially Krishna conscious, because we still have some sort of an anartha, we still have some sort of conditioning. Till that conditioning is completely removed, we are only partially Krishna conscious. So what happens is that as a stage, when you add consistent sadhana, when you add consistent sadhana, which means doing your routine sadhana should be almost our second nature, to that extent, our consistency. Which means we need to be firmly fixed in our routines in terms of performing our daily Krishna consciousness sadhana, taking responsibility for our action. And remove fault finding and blamings. When you do this, what happens? We move from a stage from partially Krishna consciousness to almost completely. So from this stage, we come to this stage. When is this? This is done when we are anartha nivritti has happened, or it is happening. So when we add consistent sadhana to an extent that it is our second nature, when we are taking responsibility, and if we remove fault-finding nature and blaming others, then our Krishna consciousness state moves from partially Krishna conscious to almost completely Krishna conscious. This almost completely Krishna consciousness, this almost completely Krishna consciousness means I get to the stage of what I call as ruchi. So what happens is that when I am partially Krishna, Ananta Nivritti is over, here I am in the stage of Nishtha. So from Nishtha to Ruchi, if you have to move, these addition to be done and this removal has to happen. Now, I am in the stage of almost completely, which means I am in the stage of Ruchi. If I add action, thoughts, desire, if they are all aligned in Krishna consciousness, because half of the time in our practicing stage, desire will be there, thoughts and actions may not be there. So some people, desire and thoughts will be there, our action will not be aligned. Desire, thoughts, action, when they are all aligned in Krishna consciousness. And what is to be removed? Enviousness and personal aspiration. So I am, okay, these are all some reflections and my logical understanding towards the natural progression. If you study Madhurya Kadamini, if you study, detailed Vaishnava literatures, there are more and more thoughts and details explained over there. But I am trying to make it simplified and presenting my understanding. I am definitely happy to get corrected if there is anything that, some Vaishnavas pointed out. So the point is that when action, thoughts, desires are aligned, and when enviousness and personal aspirations are removed, then a person, what happens? He moves from almost completely stage to the stage of being called as completely Krishna conscious. The stage of completely Krishna consciousness can be called Ashakti. And let's say from here, a person is in completely Krishna conscious, which is stage of Ashakti. Then what happens? If what all to be added in this, with whatever he has acquired so far, if he adds only Krishna and Krishna's service in one's mind, sees everyone equally as Krishna's part and parcel, accepts every situation, may it be happy or sad, as Krishna's mercy and one who have no enemies. So a person who is situated already in completely Krishna consciousness stage, if in his life he is able to manage to seek only Krishna and Krishna's service and nothing else, if he is able to see everyone as Krishna's part and parcel, accept every situation, whether it is happy situation or sad situation, as Krishna's mercy, and does not have enemies and distributes only love. What is to be removed in this person? He has to remove absolute zero material life and no jnana, no karma. So technically, the definition of anya abhilashita sunyam jnana karma dhyanavritam. So when he does that, he comes to the stage of from completely Krishna conscious to thoroughly Krishna conscious. The stage of thoroughly Krishna consciousness is nothing but the stage of bhava. He is thoroughly Krishna consciousness, which means look at his, look at his set of activities. So he is saying, I will think only in Krishna and Krishna's service. He is everyone as Krishna's. He is, looking every situation as Krishna's mercy, does not have any enemies, distributes only love, and that person who has got zero material life and no jnana, no karma, he moves from completely to thoroughly Krishna consciousness. The stage of bhava is achieved. Now, the person who is thoroughly Krishna conscious, which is bhava, what is supposed to be done when this person in his life, if he is able to so from the stage of bhava to prema, there are, as Rupa Goswami explains, and as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, and as various acharyas explain, this is the stage where he is trying to enter into the stage of samadhi. If I can use the reference from Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Instruction very clearly explains this particular situation. From the stage of progressive Krishna consciousness, a person who enters to the stage of fifth stage, when he enters the stage of absolute surrender, so it is very nicely explained as the stage of samadhi, uninterrupted and unceasing anusmriti. So uninterrupted. So if you refer to Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a very interesting reference to Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, one second, what is the chapter? 21st chapter, text number 11 and 12. Third canto, chapter 21, text number No, wait, sorry. Third, 29, not 21. Third, 29. Third, 29, text number 11 and 12. 3, 29, 11, 12. So there are three characters: is uninterrupted, unmotivated, without cessation. Avichinna, avyavahita, ahaituki. Unmotivated, uninterrupted, and without cessation. So when somebody performs devotional service in this, case, and for him, Krishna is his life. In the sense, there is no other engagement, no other thought, and for Krishna, such a person is his life. And that stage is called absolutely, thoroughly Krishna conscious. This is called prema. So the point is, there is nothing that needs to be removed at this person. He is already situated in uninterrupted, unmotivated, without cessation. His entire thinking. That is why the fifth characteristics feature, the sixth characteristics feature that Rupa Goswami explains is Krishna Akarshani. This quality attracts Krishna. This quality attracts Krishna. So my second reflection that I want to mention is, why is this science of devotional relationship between Krishna and his transcendental devotees is so special and cannot be seen from a worldly viewpoint? So that is what this particular flow chart or whatever this state diagram explains. So if we can just quickly run through this second reflection. Before Anartha Nivritti, or when Anartha Nivritti is happened, our stages of Krishna consciousness, we are partially Krishna conscious because we are not fully clean. And Anartha Nivritti is over, but still we are, we have some more cleansing to happen. So that stage is Nishta, because here he is still, needing to wither away certain portions. So when we add consistent sadhana, even before this stage sadhana was there. Here consistent sadhana meaning a person's life is centered around his commitments towards his sadhana, as if it is his almost second nature or even its primary nature. And he takes responsibility for his action, and he is relinquishing to become fault finder and blaming others. So then he moves from partially to almost completely, from Nishta to Ruchi. And then from there, from almost completely Ruchi stage, when his action, thoughts, desires are aligned, when enviousness and personal aspirations. When we say this removal of enviousness and personal aspirations, previously also they must have been removed. But you can say here residual, because a person cannot be in the stage of Ruchi with primary enviousness in his heart. There may be some residual thinking, there may be residual feeling. This enviousness may not be the gross, it may be some sort of a subtle, parinam, subtle form. So that also to be identified and removed. This is wonderfully described in Gundicha Marjan pastime. Prabhupada writes that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is cleansing Gundicha temple, the way Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's cleansing Gundija temple layer by layer, removing layer by layer of dirt that establishes the process of cleansing our heart and how one needs to be situated absolutely thoroughly clean. So that is why from Ruchi, absolutely completely stage to completely Krishna conscious, which is the stage of Ashakti. And from that stage, Ashakti, when somebody is developing a sense of surrendering to Krishna and Krishna's only, and his services are there in his head all the time, he's able to see Krishna, everyone as Krishna as part and parcel, accepts every situation, whether it is happy or sad, as Krishna's mercy, does not have any enemies, distribute love, he is firmly fixed, his Ashakti is in complete Krishna consciousness. And this person definitely need to remove this quotient of Anya Abhilasha. It becomes zero, tends to zero. And no jnana, no karma. So that person is situated in a stage called thoroughly Krishna consciousness, the stage of bhava. And from that stage, the person, when he is uninterrupted, unmotivated, without cessation, he is able to think of Krishna. It's called avichinna, avyavahita, ahetuki. He moves from thoroughly to Krishna consciousness to absolutely thoroughly Krishna conscious. The reason why I was discussing this particular aspect in this current context is that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving the full authority to our dearest Advaita Acharya, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that, my dear Advaita, you please do whatever you want. You are, having full authority to completely surrender, completely give everything to, I'm giving myself completely to you. So that is possible, not with everyone. Krishna does not give himself to everyone, anyone and everyone. He is very choosy. And if he is giving, which means Krishna is becoming his property. That is why we sing Krishna se tomara, Krishna dite para, tomara shakati ache, ami to kangala, Krishna Krishna boli, dai tava pache pache. So this is something that I wanted to discuss this as a part of
Hare Krishna. I think Prabhuji by mistake he must have logged out. Yes.
Sorry, by mistake I pressed the close button. So I was just saying that this is the reason why we say Krishna se tomara, Krishna dite para, tomara shakati ache, amito kangala, Krishna Krishna boli daita pache pache. Why the entire authority about this devotional life is resting with Krishna, resting with Vaishnavas. Why here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving so much importance to Advaita Acharya. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj writes that several people even accuse in verse number 95 purport commentary, he writes, Sri Advaita Acharya is the topmost devotee of Sri Gaura Sundara. Those wicked, unfortunate, sinful people who rather than declare Advaita Prabhu as an unalloyed devotee of Sri Chaitanya, consider Sri Chaitanya Deva as the servant of Sri Advaita, become merged in unlimited miseries due to their past misdeeds. But the pure devotees of Mahaprabhu most jubilantly consider Advaita Prabhu as the servant of Mahaprabhu. Those sinful people who do not believe these most factual incidents that occurred during the manifest pastimes of the Lord, and who invite their own inauspiciousness by imagining Advaita as the object of Chaitanya's service, become ruined. A few of Sri Advaita Prabhu's sons and their descendants did not accept Advaita Prabhu as an unalloyed servant of Sri Chaitanya Deva and took pride in declaring Advaita as an impersonalist. As a result, they were completely ruined. So it's very important that we try to understand the crux of it. And my last reflection in this current context with respect to describing about this is that many a times as practicing devotee, when we hear this, when we genuinely have desire to be a sincere practitioner, there is one layer within our heart which stops us in behaving in the manner that is expected of us. So, our heart always says, I will surrender only when I am sure of the other person's cleanliness, which is a very fair point. But what generally we miss in this point is that for us to even surrender, there is some cleanliness that we need to inculcate. For this, I would like to use the reference of Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami. Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, he used to reside in Jagannath Puri Dham. So, he has developed a sense of feeling not to hear any blasphemy about anybody to anybody. So he has taken himself into such a humble shoes that I have no qualification, and how can I hear blasphemy about any jiva who happens to be Krishna's children? So my third reflection is, even for us to comprehend what is spoken about here, that 8-9 verses that we just read today, we need a sense of humility within ourselves. Our surrender to a Vaishnava Varga, is not based on intellectual understanding. It is not based on rational, comprehension and differentiation. It is based on how much we have inculcated the quality of humility within ourselves. So our first expression, one Vaishnava devotee very nicely explained. When we see someone, if the first expression is doubting, if the first expression is about, seeing the faults, if our first reaction is about how mean, how low, how unclean they are, it tells about our inherent nature. If our first expression is appreciation, what a first expression is about our simplicity, about our being a simple soul. That is why it is important for us, this sense of broad-mindedness that we spoke about, the sense of, evolution of consciousness that we spoke about, to even comprehend these subject matters that we spoke about. All of them are possible only when we inculcate a sense of humility. So the first thing is, I will put in a question to me: am I sensible enough, qualified enough, genuine enough, sincere enough, humble enough? By holding a straw between my teeth. So that is why devotee and devotee look alike are two confusing things. We may be a look alike. We may behave like a devotee, which is okay. We are still, not in a bad state. But we are talking about some very wonderful stages in Krishna consciousness. To reach that stage, we need to make sure that we actually become one by inculcating the sense of humility within ourselves. And the sense of humility that we know, which has come to our words, which has come to our action. When that humility goes very deep in our heart to question myself, to challenge myself, to doubt myself, to purify myself before I go to someone else, then all these subject matters are something that will be very easily comprehensible. And Prabhus and Matajis, in my journey to Krishna consciousness, when I was analyzing myself, it is very easy to accept the accolades coming your way. All the wonderful Vaishnavas will call you senior. All the nice devotees will call you with so many names. And we start to dwell in that. So please note, when all appreciations come to your way, don't dwell on that. You dwell within your heart with utmost genuinity. Go deeper and see in which all corners dirts are there, which are not making to be humble, which are not able to make me offer respect to all the living entities. To that extent, we need to work upon ourselves. Going and changing others, finding others, it's not our designated service. When it becomes our designated service, still we are supposed to be doing that with all humility. So my third reflection is that these subject matters that we have been reading is only relishable, only relatable. We can only transport ourselves to this if we build that sense of humility. So to end this call, I just want to summarize. We had 3 sets of reflections. We had been, blessed with wonderful subject matter by Vrindavan Das Thakura by turning the most confidential, esoteric aspect of our Gaudiya Vaishnavism, which is considered as the most glorious aspect to get Krishna Prema. And here we see the loving exchanges between the Lord and his devotees. And Vrindavan Das Thakura explains that anyone who is doubting them will be ruined. Anyone who is trying to, think this all any bit of exaggeration will miss a very rare opportunity. So we had 3 sets of reflections. Number one, how to be a broad-minded person. And broad-minded person meaning try to understand, try to transport ourselves, keep our materialistic understanding, materialistic intelligence to the side, give the benefit of doubt to all these wonderful Vaishnavas and accept their words and try to operate on them under the guidance of some devotees, so that we will be able to inculcate the broad-mindedness within ourselves and able to take advantage of wonderful Vaishnavas in our life. So second reflection we discuss is that how that stage is achieved, how a person is making a progress in the Krishna conscious journey. We spoke about from partially to the stage of absolutely thoroughly. 5 stages we spoke, and there are very logical as well as relatable, by which we can help ourselves and make necessary progress. And last but not least, these topics and these loving emotions between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his dear devotees, or devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu amongst themselves, they are all possible even in our current context amongst our fellow devotees, amongst our Gurudev. And it is possible only when we inculcate the sense of humility within our heart, and that sense of humility should be inculcated vertically downwards within our heart, to drill down to our heart, to go and find out even a smallest iota of dirt in the heart to be cleansed. Thank you so much, and I guess there'll be any questions, comments, reflections, critiques. I'll be happy to respond. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Caitanya Bhagavat ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very well. You gave all your reflections, and the class was really so wonderful. So in a moment, for a few moments, it was like Madhya Kadambini class, and very beautifully we explained about how that stage of Bhava to Prema is going on. And you said about the complete Krishna consciousness and thorough Krishna consciousness, right? So, to my understanding, complete Krishna consciousness is like, means like, I just correct me, Prabhuji, what I have understood, I don't know whether it is right or wrong. So, complete Krishna consciousness is like we are leaving our enviousness and the anarthas are going on, right? And thoroughly Krishna conscious is like there may be some tinge of those anarthas which will also be removed at that stage. So, which is the prema stage? That's what you meant?
Yeah, so
Understood it correctly or not?
basically, Madhurya Kadamani explains this as absolutely thoroughly as a prema and partially as the beginning of Anartha Nivritti, or end of Anartha Nivritti and beginning of becoming seriousness. So, partially, almost completely, thoroughly, and absolutely thoroughly. Those are the 5 stages. I was partial. From partial, I get almost completely. It's like, I'm almost reached that stage. I'm almost there. Mathura tak pahunch gaya. Vrindavan is just 9 kilometers away. Then I'm in Vrindavan. Oh, from Vrindavan, I've almost reached Govardhan. Oh, I've almost reached Govardhan. So I'm almost reached Radhakund. Then I'm in Radhakund. And now I am in the lotus feet of Gurudev and chanting the glories of the name of Allah. So, as Nectar of Instruction explains, Mathura, Vrindavan, Giriraj, Radhakund, and Srimati Radhika's lotus feet as the natural progression. So, it is something like saying that I am progressively going closer to Krishna, and at every stage, something is being removed. And in the chart that I mentioned, we mentioned that how our either anarthas are removed, or even what I thought as something useful, which is useless in Krishna consciousness, is removed. So from partially to absolutely thoroughly, that's the stage of target that we have to achieve.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And lastly, also you said that when we are finding, means like we should not find fault with anyone, but before that we should first be work on getting rid of faults which we have within ourselves, right? So that was really very wonderful. But one thing, Prabhuji, when we are in association of devotees, we are finding so many conflicts, right? So the way the senior devotees, you were saying, like senior, like lastly you were saying that they may praise you and they may say tell sweet words to you, but we should not get dwindle in that. So what my question is, like when the senior devotees, when the junior, means like the neophytes, when they are doing the service, or when they go and ask for the service, they means they have some different thoughts which they express. So that is sometimes not very palatable to hear or to contemplate on that. So what would you say about that, Prabhuji? So in that case,
every self-realized soul, if he receives any feedback, positive, negative, anything, he know how to handle them. It's like a doctor dealing with diseased people. So if anybody comes to you with an unpalatable news, unpalatable messages, Gaur Gopal Prabhu very nicely explains this. You ask 3 questions. Is it relevant to me? Is it useful to me? And there's one more thing that he says. So sometimes we may, if it is not relevant to me, it is not going to be useful to me. If it is not about me, or am I involved, if I cannot do anything about it, so then probably we will have to have a tactful way of removing ourselves from that situation. That is why the services of monitoring devotees, services of looking after devotees are not given initially. Initially, our understanding, Prabhupada wanted all his students to have a very strong philosophical understanding, very strong sadhana and practices, so that he has got enough juice, enough masala, enough strength to handle all those anarthas coming his way. A doctor, he should be clean enough, intelligent enough, and have necessary protection to deal with patients who may have contagious diseases also. So, as a practicing devotee, anybody coming to our way, telling some unpalatable things and not so good things, it is in our, it is in our responsibility to not get polluted by that and try to help the devotee to come out of that particular situation. If that is what you are asking, so in case if I have not answered you, please.
Yes, Prabhuji, that's what. So we just have to balance the situation, or just walk away. And if we cannot handle that, then we just have to walk away from that. So that's what I understood, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. I could see Parima Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for this wonderful class. And there was this one question that I had got since a long time. Prabhuji, you said that you should not judge a great devotee by the externals or by anything else, which is absolutely true, and I can understand that totally. I have come across or I've read about many such Mahabhagavats or great devotees who purposely put on a very negative behavior, outwardly behavior, to shoo away people, and so that they don't their bhajan or their tapa is not lost. And I mean, not everybody can look through that negative behavior, that that this person is a great devotee. And on the other hand, we have many fake gurus who are posing like that they are like great devotees. How do a person at my level can look through, or I mean, I understand and I will never be able to look through, but how do we kind of put our faith in the right person? I
Fantastic,
just
fantastic. Very nice point, and it is very important. And thank you brought that, because there are histories. If you see Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Jivan Charitra, if you see Rasikananda Prabhu's Jivan
Yes.
Charitra, if you read Vamsidas Babaji Maharaj Jivan Charitra, if you read so many Vaishnavas, even after Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, they have exhibited some very funny symptoms to shoo away worldly minded people. So my answer to your situation is that we have to take care of three things. Number one, that by design, our glass should not be a black glass. We should always have a white glass to see others. I don't see anyone black. By first design, I don't doubt. The first design, I give respect to everyone. Because I am not going to deal with everyone in this world. If I start doubting everyone, then, so by design, I respect anyone. I respect even a cannibal, for that matter. That's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur's statement in Caitanya Sikshamrita. He says, we should learn to respect even a cannibal, what to speak of a Mahabhagavata. So from that perspective, my first duty is that. Second aspect is that when it comes to dealing with someone transactionally, you deal transactionally, or it has to be give and take. You deal in a manner by which that that is not harming your devotional life. How much ever that person, suppose for example, somebody is like a Mahabhagavata, he exhibits some funny characteristics which you can't comprehend, but at least you can comprehend that I cannot comprehend them. So at least I would have an arm's length relationship. I will not be able to go close, because to somebody you need not go too close too soon. Yes. So I cannot, tomorrow if Rasikananda Prabhu or Vamsidas Babaji Maharaj is there, maybe I'm not even qualified to go closer to him alone. Let me say that. Okay. So that is number two. Number three is, if you happen to know and somehow want to have the desire to go closer, please always accompany another self-realized soul, another senior Vaishnava in whose company you do that. So what I'm saying is that I don't take my decisions, but my decisions are based on sadhus, great Vaishnavas, proclamation. So a sadhu is a sadhu not only by his own virtues, but is also all the people accept him as a sadhu. Generally, a sadhu can only see another sadhu. If you suppose, for example, if you did not read Srila Prabhupada's books and did not know about Goswamis, you happen to go to Vrindavan Dham, there is a 9 out of 10 possibilities we will not know who Rupa Goswami, who Sanatana Goswami was. Because they lived in such a simple way, loin cloths, and had a common blue and lived underneath the tree. And our descriptions of Rupa and Sanatana in our own imagination is different. So we will go to Vrindavan, we will see, oh, this is a beggar, or this is some, insignificant soul. This did happen. During Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Kashi Mishra or Tapan Mishra's house in Varanasi. So Sanatana Goswami had been traveling from the jail after escaping from the jail. He was going to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Chandrasekhara, Mahaprabhu already had a reading that Sanatana Goswami was going to come. So Mahaprabhu said, Chandrasekhar, go out. There is a guest, coming to see me. Please call him inside. So Chandrasekhara went outside and coming back and telling Mahaprabhu, there is nobody there outside. So then Mahaprabhu says, please go out. There will be one person who will be dressed in a very simple manner, in a very humble manner, and you please get him inside. So this time when he goes to Chandrasekhara, he saw Sanatana Goswami standing there. He was standing there even in the last time also. But in Chandrasekhara's headspace, a guest of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should be in this form, shape, attire. He didn't think that how a person looking in a very simple loin cloths or very simple person could be a guest of my Prabhu, my God. So it is very imperative that hum dhoka ka sakte hain. There is a possibility that we can get lost. So it is better to go in the assembly of Vaishnavas and Sadhus and try to identify a Sadhu. A Sadhu can only show you another Sadhu, not otherwise. That is what it is explained in one of the verses that we read today, that it is, I think verse number 89 or verse number 90. It is explained that if you do not distribute, 89, if you do not distribute devotional service, no one can attain it. Which means unless a Vaishnava shows us the path, oh, he is a Param Vaishnava, he is a Param Vaishnava, we will not be able to, identify. So the third solution is, please always go behind, go after some soul who is already self-realized. So we are blessed because we have self-realized souls ahead of us. We have sincere seekers behind us. We are in between. So which is a very nice stage. Go after the self-realized soul who will take you to further self-realized soul. And while you go, take along all those seekers behind you. So that way, this entire process is maintained. Am I making sense?
Yes, Prabhuji. Just one last point I wanted to make is, whenever we make a trip to Vrindavan, we definitely come to know about many such people. Some of them are very exalted. So can we seek association of those where our Guru Varga also go and exchange their cordial relationships, whatever?
Not alone, unless you have a definite maturity. The reason is that some of the activities may be very esoteric. You may not be able to comprehend. If you have that maturity to understand, you will not carry home a negative feeling or it. Because what happens is that they are positive, they are love and cry for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radharani may not impact us, but their mistakes will immediately impact us and we will dwell on them. So taking darshan of them, surrendering to their lotus feet and appreciating about them, all of them are glorious. But to be in his sangha for some time and perform some service, you need maturity and you better need a better company. Otherwise, there's a possibility that we may tend to misunderstand.
Okay, thank you for your wonderful reply, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. I'm fully convinced. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you. Done with pranams, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I don't see any more questions or hand raise. So with your permission, we can end the call here, Prabhuji.
Sure.
So devotees, let's pay our obeisances to Prabhuji. Vancha kalpatrupasha kripasindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Grace Ramgiridhari Prabhuji ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your wonderful
Hare
time.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, dear devotees.